Business Over Beer, Season 5, brought to you by Virtual Cathy. Andres Jimenez, Financial Advisor for Edward Jones. Taps Growler House. Uptown Screen Printing and Personalized Gifts. Better Together Payment Solutions. And Diana Rutherford, Real Estate Agent with Realty One Group Cascadia. Please support these great local small businesses. Hey everybody, Jonathan with Business Over Beer here, and this is Season 5 of our podcast. In this video, we interview Vesta Hospitality founder and CEO Rick Takach. He was nice enough to invite us to the site of the future AC Hotel by Marriott down on the Vancouver waterfront. It's going to be opening next year. Man, we got to have the first drink in what will be the bar of that hotel, man. It was pretty awesome. Thanks, Rick. Now, speaking of the AC Hotel, Rick also gave us a tour of the hotel and a sneak peek at all the amenities and a couple of hidden secrets that you certainly won't want to miss. The link to that is below, along with links to all of our Season 5 episodes, including our Spotlight of John McKibben, the other interviews we did this season, and even one of Angie's Mystery Keg. You won't want to miss that for sure, so go check those out as well. Hey, if you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel, like us, and share it. Also, we're building a community, and if you want to be part of that, please go to bizoverbeer.com/passages to success for more information. Prost.
And welcome to another episode of the second biggest podcast in the Pacific Northwest. Folks, I know it's surprising, right? But we are still on the heels of those sassy, sapsy Sasquatch hunters. But I know that this episode here will bring us to the apex, and we will reign supreme in the Pacific Northwest. That's right. This is Business Over Beer. I am your co-host, Ben Surratt. Alongside me is the man of the hour, the terror of power. Some people call him a space cowboy. Some people call him Man Bun. Some people call him Stitches. But, of course, we all know him as the Chupacabra, the goat-eating creature of Mexico. But, of course, to all of us, he is Spartacus, Mr. Jonathan Kaler. Welcome.
Hey, Benjamin Surratt.
We are in...
This is a first.
Like ever.
We are in a construction zone.
We had our hard hats on for a little bit.
We did. We absolutely did. Because we got to protect these heads, because there's not a whole lot left. So if something happens, we'll be even farther off than we already are. But that's okay.
Is that a ball joke again?
Sure, if you want to take it that way. Yeah. I did use a ton of hairspray today, so I have a little extra protection. But that's really neither here nor there. Speaking of protection and things that I need to be protected from, to my right, as always, is the gift that keeps on giving. He is the gangsta of Hazeldale. Are you guys down with the KNOPP?
Yeah, you know me.
Jason Knope, welcome back to Business Over Beer, my friend. How you feeling tonight?
You know, I'm feeling great. What a great welcome from the Goat Eater. It's really appreciated. You know, we're sitting down here on the waterfront in this construction zone. Kaler really should have a hard hat on because, you know, we know he's accident prone. Yeah. But we've got a pretty cool guest tonight. We got Rick Takach, Vesta Hospitality's Chairman and CEO in Vancouver, Washington, USA.
That's right. Rick, welcome to Business Over Beer. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I didn't realize what I was getting into after watching you guys get this started. I was like, wow, this is going to be intense.
Well, yeah.
You know, we act like we take it seriously, but you know, it's all meant in good fun. But in all seriousness, we are so appreciative of you taking the time, what you guys are doing in this building, particularly, which we're going to get into, and of course everything that you're doing in the community. And what you're doing for the McKibben Legacy Classic Golf Tournament is just outstanding. So we're just really thankful that you took the time to join us.
Oh, no problem. I very much enjoy doing this. So thanks for inviting me.
You got it. So we always want to start with your business.
Right.
So I don't know if you just want to give us sort of the 50,000-foot view of Vesta Hospitality and kind of what you're into.
Sure, yeah. Vesta Hospitality is Vancouver-based. It was started in 1996. And we are an acquisition development and hotel management company. We have hotels around the United States. We acquire, buy, and manage hotels. That's all we do.
Wow.
Do you get into any other areas of hospitality, like restaurants or anything like that?
Oh, sure. Anything that a restaurant or anything that a hotel might have, restaurant, spa, all the meeting space, anything that you would expect from a hotel. That is what we are involved in and what we do. We have quite a few restaurants in our portfolio.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to get a little more into your business and everything that you're doing in the community. But Rick, this is the Business Over Beer podcast. This is the beer portion of the program. We ask all of our guests to bring a beer to share.
Yeah.
Have you brought us a beer that we can share?
I brought those little minis, Coors Light for you. I thought you'd like that.
Awesome. Yeah. We've never had that on the show. Let's get after it.
It's a show of
Let's
firsts.
see what you got.
You want me to get up and get the beer?
Yeah, let's grab the beer.
Well, I can't say I'm much of a beer drinker, guys, but I do like it. So.
Okay.
What is your beverage of choice? What do you like to drink aside from beer?
Oh, beverage of choice. I like wine. I like, vodka. I like a good beer on occasion. So. But today, yes, we got it. Obsidian Stout at Deschutes Brewery. Obsidian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Well, Deschutes, of course, a Pacific Northwest staple. We've had many of their beers on the program. What's interesting about this,
there you go.
How many stouts have we had guest beers? We've had plenty of stouts for the mystery beer segment, but I can't remember if we've had a stout brought by a guest. I'm sure we have. But
we had to have.
But not very many.
No,
it's
not
pretty
many.
rare.
Tara?
I'd say that's fairly stout.
I'm just happy we're not doing shots of Coors Light because that would bring back some bad memories for Kaler.
I try to go with the flow. He said Coors Light. I try to act happy, but I'll tell you, I'm very happy that we've got the Obsidian Stout. So, thanks again for joining us.
Yeah,
Prost.
cheers. Prost.
Cheers.
Thanks, Rick.
Yes, yeah.
Oh man,
it's pretty tasty. I haven't had one of these for a while.
Man, that is so yummy. I really like stouts. You guys know this, and I'm sure our audience is tired of me saying it. I don't like the big imperial stouts, but I do like just a nice garden variety over the counter stout. 6.5% alcohol. But what's really I like about this? Look, it's got 55 IBUs. So it's actually pretty bitter.
It is
for a stout. So I really dig that. It's got something like it's got those coffee and sort of dark chocolate notes to it that are really nice. So it's a yummy beer.
Like for me, this reminds me more of. You can tell the different breweries by the yeast they have, and for some reason, it smells like a Deschutes beer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know
and
what
it
you mean.
tastes like Deschutes. Funny story. In Chicago, Ditka's, they have Mere Pond, but they call it Ditka's beer.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. True story. Deschutes.
That's interesting.
That's crazy. Anyways, I don't know.
Yeah. So
Cooper, what do you think of it?
I like it. I think it's tasty. It's a little bit bitter for me. But it's not boozy at all like you get with some of these, and it's smooth and tastes good. Easy to drink.
After the third or fourth one, the bitterness kind of goes away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
Is that where this is going tonight?
Yeah, well,
I didn't bring enough for that.
Smart.
Well, we heard something about open bar later. We're just going to tag along, maybe. You won't even know we're there.
Yeah,
I
good.
promise.
Sounds like Wedding Crashers.
And we're in the bar now, right?
Yeah, this is the cool part of right now is we are actually sitting in the soon-to-be-built AC bar, AC lounge, in the new AC hotel. It obviously hasn't been built yet. It's framed out, but you're the first people ever to have a beer in my new beer.
This is the podcast of firsts.
This is. Well, thank you. That is totally amazing.
Awesome.
Any particular reason you wanted to get the Obsidian Stout?
You know, I like darker beers, and I really like the Black Butte Porter, and I was drinking that quite a bit when I was drinking a little bit of beer. And then I wanted just a little change of pace, so I did the Obsidian Stout. And since I haven't really drank a lot of beer lately, that just came to mind. And I like local beers. You know, try to support our local area.
Yeah.
And I just like it, so I thought, why not?
Absolutely. Well, it's yummy. It's a good choice.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Rick, speaking of local, am I to understand correctly that most of, if not all of the people working on this project are sourced locally?
Yeah, I would. So definitely is the case. R&O Construction is the general contractor. I believe all the subs they have on the site are local. The investors that I brought into this project with me are all local. The debt is local, so it's definitely a local hotel.
Yeah.
It's 100% built here with everybody here. Now we do have some furniture and fixtures and things coming from outside the area, but I don't think there's much around that. Just getting supplies these days is a big thing.
Yeah.
So I'll be happy when it all shows up.
Oh, I'm sure.
I bet.
Yeah.
Well, keeping on the local thing, let's talk about the McKibben Classic. How did you get involved with that? Were you there from the beginning, or was it?
Yeah, James O'Neill. James has really put all that together, and as you know, James is, I think, a phenomenal community leader. I have a lot of respect for him, and he said, hey, look, we want to do something to remember John, and we want to take those proceeds and invest them locally in our community. And so it was a pretty easy decision for me to get involved and try to support his classic and what he's trying to do as best I could.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then you had the opportunity to be the presenting sponsor this year.
Right.
I know that James was looking for a new presenting sponsor. So, kind of what went into that decision? Was there anything else that kind of went into you wanting to do that at an even higher level this year?
So James came and said, hey, look, we have a presenting sponsorship opportunity. And honestly, there wasn't a lot of thought. I knew what James was doing. I liked James and trust him, and said, okay, I want to do it. So
awesome.
it was that simple.
So how did you meet James anyway?
That is a great question. I'm assuming on the golf course. I cannot remember. I'm assuming it was on the golf course.
And I'm sure you whipped him.
Oh yeah, he's so easy to beat. He thinks he has game. He has no game. Ask him. I had him in my home simulator the other day, and after the first hole, I had him by 4 strokes. It was crazy. He's simple.
Did you know John McKibben? Did you have a relationship with him?
I really didn't. I knew him. I'd met him a few times, but it was only in passing, so I really didn't know John that well.
Gotcha.
I knew what he was trying to accomplish and do in Vancouver, and I certainly appreciate what he was trying to do. And I think he made a pretty substantial impact, and his legacy will keep that going.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I think one of the things in researching your company, and of course we're what John McKibben was all about, and everything that James O'Neill has told us about him and his impact to the local community. It seems like you guys have that very much in common, that you're kind of cut from that same cloth. The community is really important to you, not just from the business and the hotels, but all the way to your employees and to your vendors. So talk to us a little bit about the importance of this community in particular, and why Vancouver is so special and for Vesta Hospitality.
Yeah, boy, I could go on a lot about that, so I'll try to cut it down a little bit. But I've been in the hospitality business since I graduated from college. And one of the ways that I was able to advance through that business was I was working for a pretty big company, Marriott. And if you allowed yourself to be relocated, you could advance much more quickly. And so I'd be relocated. I was moving my family all around. And eventually, after a couple different things happened, I had a chance to start my own company and settle down. And I always wanted to settle down somewhere. And had an opportunity here in Vancouver because we were building a couple hotels, one in Portland and one here. And so this is, I really enjoyed it here. And I was kind of surprised how such a big city, and it's a bigger city than most people think, have such a core, there's so many people here that are community-minded, that are philanthropic, and I think it's kind of one of the core fabrics of our community, because everybody seems to want to help as much as they can. So we certainly try to do our share. We support quite a few different organizations in the area. So realistically, my family's here, this is my home, and I want to support our community.
Where are you from originally?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how many, before you ended up here, how many states were you?
I want to say, without going through it in my head, I'm going to say maybe 10 states.
Wow.
Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So out of 10 states, you picked Vancouver to stay.
Well, the timing, there was a lot of different reasons for that. I can't say that it was because it was Vancouver at the time. I didn't know how much I was going to like the community and be impressed by the community. But I knew I wanted to settle down. I knew I wanted my family in one place and not moving around as much. And I had this opportunity, again, for a lot of different reasons. And it worked. And Vesta has been extremely successful over that. And actually, in 3 weeks, Vesta turns 25 years old. So
wow.
We have our 25th anniversary on September 16th. And we've done really well.
Congrats. That is fantastic. My wife's birthday, by the way.
Oh, it is September 16th. She's got a good birthday.
She does.
She's 25 too.
That's right.
That's right.
Love you, honey. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I read an interesting thing on your website about the name Vesta. So you weren't always called Vesta. Can you tell the story? These guys know I love the origins of business names. I love to ask about business names. Talk about the origin of Vesta and kind of the transition in your brand and why you guys did that.
I wasn't really good at picking names, and so when I started Vesta, I had a couple of partners, and no longer have any partners. I own the company now, but I never had picked a company name before, and so I was really struggling. And it shouldn't have been as hard as I made it, but I started the company as Northwest Hospitality Group, because there was a group of us. And I was happy with it, but it regionalized our company quite a bit, because we're national now, and we're all over the country. And then a number of years after I had it, I found out there was another Northwest Hospitality Group out of Boise. And so there was a little bit of confusion, and obviously we think we're better than anybody else at managing hotels. I probably shouldn't say that, but we feel like we do a pretty good job, and we didn't want anybody thinking they were us and us them and all that kind of stuff. And so on our 10th anniversary, we were looking at redesigning our logo and updating our image and all that kind of stuff, and we hired a firm out of Portland, and I can't remember their name now. And not only did they update our logo, they came back and said, hey, because one of my team members said we were thinking about a name change. They came back and did some research, and they found the name Vesta. And they had this logo, and it just hit home, because it's the Roman goddess of home and hearth. And it just hit for us, because that's what we're all about. And you're in the hospitality industry, you take care of people. And if you don't like people and you don't take care of people, you're in the wrong industry. Right. So it hit home for us, and we all love the name. So we adopted it, and that's how we've been there now. We've been Vesta now for 15 years. Same company, but 15 years.
Yeah.
Wow. I've worked in the hospitality industry. Yeah. Jonathan, you have, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Canoper?
Well, I worked in restaurant. I mean, I worked in restaurants. Yeah. I never worked in a hotel, but I worked in restaurants.
I worked in a hotel, room service, and what you just said hit home a lot. Right. And I just made a correlation, like the hospitality industry is all about serving.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Yeah. And making people feel welcome and at home, away from home.
Right.
So it's kind of like you took it to the local, like locally, Vancouver is a hospitality of cities. If that's a good, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very welcoming and making you feel at home, and wanting you to serve.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in the hospitality industry, but when it really comes, a lot going on, but when it really comes down to it, it's how to deal with people. It's treating your team members with respect and giving them the tools they need to do their job. It's taking care of your guests at a level where they're happy with spending their money, their hard-earned money in your establishments. It's making sure that our investors, that when I find an investor feels comfortable that we're meeting our fiduciary responsibilities and handling that properly. So we have this Vesta wheel, and it's how we communicate with all of our hotels down through the organization. And in the middle of that Vesta wheel, and it's actually a wheel, and we have them in all of our hotels, and in the middle of that wheel is our mission. And I could go into hours about the mission. We tried to simplify it. It's really just great teams, great experiences, great results. So in the middle of that wheel is our mission, and then there's 5 spokes to the wheel. And, one of them is our revenue, projections. One of them is our team member satisfaction, our guest satisfaction, our operating capabilities. But the 5th spoke of that wheel is community involvement. It's best practices. It's your green, initiatives. It's treating your community right and being involved, whether we have money or just personnel to try to support it. And so it's a big focus for us, not only in Vancouver, but everywhere we operate around the country. And so all of our teams fill out this wheel and each of those spokes of what they're going to do with their hotel, and within their department. It goes through each department also, what they're going to do to meet those objectives in their specific environment, all focused on our mission statement. So, I mean, it's just one way to communicate, but it does reflect the fact that we think community involvement is a very important part of our business.
Well, and one of your core values I thought was really interesting that I don't know that I've ever seen on a core values set before is take it personally.
Yeah.
Which is, it's so simple, but it's so profound.
Right.
Because as an employer, trying to get employees to give a shit is really hard.
Yeah.
And setting that as a core value is really important, because that really would then, I guess, direct how you hire people and all
way
that.
down to that. A lot of it comes down to who you hire.
Yeah.
And it's been tough lately, as you know, finding team members that will really, strive to meet your core values. So, but it really all comes down to hiring the right people and then providing that environment where they can excel.
Yeah.
And that's just part of it.
You seem like very authentic.
Yeah.
And the buy-in to what your culture you're building.
Yeah.
And I can see where, like, having really good managers or whatever, and you just have it. Like, I can just tell.
Well, everybody on our team feels the same way. Everybody, here's something interesting about Vesta, and our company is, so we do team member engagement surveys every year, sometimes twice a year. I read every comment of every team member that writes one in our company. And then the big thing that's really important is that we respond to those comments so they know that they've been heard. But how do you really measure? I mean, you can get a score for team member satisfaction and all this. Everybody does that. One of the things I really look at is team member retention. Mm-hmm. And when I look at Vesta, I have the same chief financial officer from the day I started the company. I don't have one executive team member that's been with me less than 15 years. Wow. And then we have hotels that we've had for many, many years. We have room attendants that have been with us for 10 or 15 years. So, I mean, now we certainly have some turnover, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's always, sometimes it's good to have a little turnover, but the fact of the matter is I think our basic principles and our basic philosophies get bought into, and I think it's measured by the longevity of our team.
That's awesome.
And we've been pretty successful there.
The other thing that I really like about your business is that you take very much a holistic approach, it seems, right? It's you're starting from the development and design aspect all the way through to the construction, the ownership, management, the whole spectrum of hospitality ownership, even into your investment fund.
Yeah.
Right.
A couple funds.
All of that is
Right.
very much a holistic approach. Was that the vision from the beginning, or did you start sort of more niche and then it's grown into that more holistic business?
You know, I started as a night auditor in a hotel in Vail, Colorado. So I didn't know. I just got out of college. I really needed to eat, and I got a job, and it was nice because I could work at night and ski all day, and that was a lot of fun. But what happened is I started realizing that this was a pretty cool business, and I really liked it, and I was actually pretty good at it. So I just stuck with it. But I think the point, to answer your question a little bit more directly, I came up through the operation ranks, so I worked every position you can imagine. And I think that gives me an advantage today. But so, I mean, I made beds, I did dishes, I unplugged toilets. I mean, I worked the desk, I worked night on it, I worked my way through management positions, eventually a regional manager with Marriott, and then I had an opportunity to go to a company where I started learning a little bit more about what's really the hospitality business. And what a lot of people don't understand is what I'm doing here is really a real estate transaction. So the hospitality industry is an operating hospitality real estate investment, but the operating part's the most important part. Mm-hmm. So you better know what you're doing if you're going to spend the kind of money I'm spending down here on the waterfront, so that you can actually be effective and have good returns on your investments. But everything that comes with that is good for the community. A lot of employment, services for the area, and the amounts we give back into the community. All that comes from the basis of knowing that you're in an operating real estate play.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
How does he stay? You're so calm.
Yeah.
Like, if I had, like, just hearing you say all that stuff,
Yeah.
I'm like, my blood pressure would be through the roof.
Well, I mean, we had $8 in revenue last year, and you know how stressed I get about all this stuff.
I mean,
and I see
What
this
was
guy.
the profit
You imagine
percentage on that?
Oh, that
it was probably not
50%?
positive.
No,
it was probably negative. But
Doesn't he seem so calm?
But I mean,
though?
yeah, I mean the
Well.
billions of dollars that must be at play here. Yeah,
But so that's interesting you say that. It's really because I've done this for 42 years. So for me, this is what I do. It's actually become my hobby now. I really don't have to work anymore. Mm-hmm. But I would go nuts if I didn't have this opportunity, and I enjoy every second of it. But the calmness probably comes from 42 years of experience.
Yeah.
So,
man.
Yeah. Hate to say 42 years, makes me sound old. I did start when I was 1. So I just,
there you go. Well, along those lines, one question we try to ask everybody, because we support business founders really at our core. That's really what our mission is. So if you could go back and tell yourself something today to tell yourself at startup, when you first started this business, tell yourself one thing back then that you've learned. What would it be?
I would have probably been a little more aggressive in taking on different opportunities. When you're younger and you're not tied down, you're not tied to an area, you don't have a family. You know, I could have traveled the world in this business. I could have learned different. I've traveled the world since, but I could have learned different cultures, different ways of doing hospitality. So, if I had to go back and look at my younger self, I'd say 2 things. I'd say be aggressive while you're young, and find mentors to learn from. Because, and I tell all the young people coming up in our business, find a position, even if it's just the next level position. Find somebody that you think does a really good job. You want to aspire to that position, and mirror them. Watch what they do. You'll get that position eventually. Then find the next one. But find good mentors and be aggressive.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that you'll give us a walkthrough of the building. We're going to leave it here for the podcast for now. Go check out our YouTube page, and you can see certainly some of the video from this new awesome hotel that's going down on the Vancouver waterfront. We're going to leave it here for now, but before we go, Ben, it's time.
It's time already?
It's time already.
I'm excited for this one because I want to take a tour. I'm excited for the tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Rick, are you ready?
I'm ready. I have a couple special things to show you that nobody knows about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rick, real quick.
I wasn't sure. Is the tour the thing, or are we going to do the thing?
Should we do the tour?
No, I
first?
think we should do the
No,
thing.
Let's do the thing.
Do the thing,
All right.
we'll wrap, and then we'll
What is the
Cool.
thing? I'm nervous about this.
Oh,
wait.
it's just the final question,
Okay.
Rick. Are you ready for the final question?
Sure.
All right. So, Rick, two-parter.
Yeah.
With 4 subsections.
You can pick anywhere in the world to build your dream hotel.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
But you get a phone call when you're doing this, and the person on the other end wants to be the first person to stay in the presidential suite or whatever.
Yeah.
Where is that location of the hotel?
Yeah.
And who is that person calling you?
I will tell you, I really like Hawaii, over in Hawaii. I mean, I've traveled the world, and Kari and I, my spouse, she and I really like Hawaii. So if I could build a nice resort on the beach over there in Poipu somewhere, that would be fantastic. And the first person who gets to stay in my presidential suite, well, obviously you can, but it might be someone who invested the most money to help me get that project done.
That's a very wise
got $8.
answer.
I got $8. I don't know if that's going to go. Well, no.
I take care of our investors. It's very, I take care of our investors. So.
Well, it comes back to that, right? Because
Yeah.
they're part of that community that you build, right?
Yeah.
And the people that are helping support your business and,
Yeah.
and make it as successful
Yeah.
as it can be. Well, that's fantastic. We've loved having you on the show. If people want to find out more about Vesta Hospitality, where would you like people to go?
Probably our website, www.vestahospitality.com.
Outstanding.
So thank you so much for all the questions and the interest. It's kind of nice. It's nice to talk business.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And the beer was great.
Yeah, it was.
Perfect.
Well, thank
A
you.
little bitter, but it was great.
That's all right. Still tastes good.
Kind of like me.
It's true.
Yeah.
Nice, but a little bitter.
Check. Canoper, if people want to find business over beer, where do they go?
They go to Biz Over Beer. That's BIZoverbeer.com. We got our social media handles there. We got the podcast you can watch, you can listen from there. We got a beautiful blog that Kayla writes for every episode.
Oh,
And
they're good, too.
that's where
They're
you find
fantastic.
everything business over beer.
Awesome. Rick, thank you. I can't wait for this tour.
Yep.
Kaler, Canope. People listening, you're welcome. People watching, sorry. We will see you all next time.
Good night.
Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Our theme song is Idiocracy by Christian Leo. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Business Over Beer, a TH3 Entertainment production.